see a motorcycle per year? Because if this product is successful, how would you like to grow the collaboration, make it more successful? Driving exports is very important for Bajaj Auto. It is the largest exporter of motorcycles from India. So what more? What next in this partnership?
So currently Triumph has addressed, I think, or prioritized the two most important segments, the street segment or the roadster and the sort of scrambler or on-off road. But as they showed us in their presentation, they are into adventure motorcycles, into cafe racers, and so many other form factors as well. So this is a question, quite frankly, as the brand custodian, they have to answer. I am not at a liberty to share any details, but I can tell you there are several new products that are in the pipeline. And I would think that one new product a year would be the minimum, because if for no other reason, but two, one, India is the world's largest market for these motorcycles, and certainly there's more than one or two kinds of consumers there. And secondly, if we are going to ask our dealers to put up exclusive dealerships, then certainly we have to make the effort to put more than just two motorcycles out there for them to generate adequate business.
All right. So what is Rajiv Bajaj's heart really on? There are so many motorcycles they have showcased. What would you like to bring to India next? Even if you don't want to give us a specification, tell us about your next favorite motorcycle. Give us some hint of what could come next.
Well, that's a tricky question, but I will say this. We have something very special in the works within this fiscal year, towards the end of it, hopefully, for those who absolutely love the Pulsar. The next big thing with the Pulsar. So we've done, I think, a reasonable job with the Triumphs. It's no secret that there's new KTMs around the corner, because the whole KTM lineup will be refreshed significantly in coming months. But in the end, the one brand or product which in 2001 changed Bajaj from a scooter company to a motorcycle company, and from a domestic company to a global company as the world's favorite Indian, and today the most valuable two- and three-wheeler company in the world, is Pulsar. So we are going to pay homage to the Pulsar in an amazing way, hopefully before March next year.
Okay, so that's something we look forward to. I would come back to the point about pricing. When you think about having the cheapest motorcycle or the lowest cost motorcycle, the highest mileage motorcycle, you think about the entry level segment, really the bread and butter segment. When you think about iconic brands like the Triumph, the Harley Davidson, you think about the most premium, the most cream customer in the market. So when you have this price war and you have companies saying that this is the lowest price Harley or this is the cheapest Triumph ever, do you think this strategy can work with the customer, with a customer who aspires to buy a Triumph one day or own a Harley Davidson one day?
I think, what is quote unquote cheap for one person is a fortune for another. So it all depends on one's own context. And actually, the reason for the success of our partnership with KTM, which saw KTM go from 65,000 motorcycles a year in 2007 to becoming the #1 premium motorcycle in the world by volume now at over 300,000 motorcycles a year, is because we did not comply with this implicit assumption that you can either buy something that's affordable or something that is aspirational. What KTM Bajaj brought to the table, and if I may say so, then motivated TVS, BMW and even Bajaj Triumph to come together, was to be able to offer affordable inspiration, let's say, or affordable aspiration to that customer, And I think that's what we are doing with Triumph. I don't think we are offering a premium product. I don't think we are offering a cheap product. We are offering great value for a great brand and a great product. And it's still at a small premium to the current market leader, but that's because there's a hell of a lot more content on the Triumph motorcycle.
Right. Now, Triumph, as Nick pointed out in the press conference, has invested in this partnership with Bajaj Auto because they see great value in India as a market going forward. How will this partnership grow? What is your view on it. Right now, Bajaj Auto is a contract manufacturer for Triumph motorcycles. Possibly in future, there will be more motorcycles which will be made here at Chakan too. Could you get into an equity partnership the way you have a partnership with KTM? Would you want to buy a stake in Triumph in future? Are those kind of conversations going on? Like you said, it was your dream, a 16-year-old dream to partner with Triumph and deliver these motorcycles. Are you considering buying a stake?
Well, first I must say this, that if I were a contract maker, I would essentially be building to print, that Triumph would supply us. Excuse my cough. But that's not the case. I would not be wrong in saying that first, as far as R&D or design development is concerned, while as brand custodians, everything is defined by Triumph. But if I were to guesstimate the share of man hours that have gone into designing, developing, prototyping, testing, etc. of these motorcycles, probably 80% of those man hours have been invested over here by Bajaj engineers.
These are ground up motorcycles.
So brand new motorcycle, and that's the effort we put in developing them. Otherwise, if these were completely designed and developed by Triumph in the UK, we would not have hit this sweet spot in terms of cost. Number two, as you're probably aware, that the Indian market, the subcontinent, most markets in Africa, and a couple of markets of LATAM and ASEAN will be managed directly by Bajaj in terms of all marketing, sales, everything. So we are the, if I may say so, the brand custodians of Triumph. For example, we will be so in Colombia, we will be so in Myanmar, Cambodia, and as I said, in the subcontinent, etc. So if you're a contract manufacturer, you do not participate in design, and you certainly don't manage the market. Having said that, at this moment there is no equity relationship. I don't think equity in itself is a necessary condition for a successful partnership. We have a 40-year partnership still enduring with Kawasaki. Today it is manifested in terms of Kawasaki being our distributor in the Philippines, and there is no equity that either company has in each other. So I think I've always believed that mutuality of purpose, of objective in the marketplace is a far bigger objective and a far more compelling reason for two partners to stay together. Otherwise, if you look at the history of the Indian motorcycle industry, Hero Honda, Kinetic Honda, LML Vespa, Escorts Yamaha, TVS Suzuki, LML and the Korean maker Daimler, none of these exist. These were all equity relationships. The only one that endures is Bajaj Kawasaki. That was not an equity relationship.
Right. Mr. Bajaj, my final two questions, and this would be on the EV roadmap. The industry has seen a drop in sales on a year-on-year basis after the subsidies were cut down. It has been a drastic cut for many automakers. Has the loss per vehicle for EVs gone up? And how do you see the competition in the market? Do you feel that Bajaj Auto now has a need to ramp up and really pull up its strategy, considering you've got some entrants like Ola, which are now dominating the market? Ola has a 40% market share.
Yeah. So as Rakesh said on your channel a couple of days back, if you average the sales in May and June, that average is pretty much the same as what we witnessed in April or the months before that. So I think the market did react in June very sharply, adversely to the price increase. But I think it will come back, because the OPEX in terms of the savings to the consumer, if he moves from ICE scooter to a EV scooter, is still positive. So we must believe in that logic, that consumers would see that and would come back. In terms of the loss per vehicle, it is not anymore really, because largely the reduction in the subsidy has been passed on. Not all of it, but at the same time, it's no secret that the cell prices have also moderated. So if you look at the total cost picture, I don't think we are any worse off than we were before, but at higher prices. Now, in terms of our own ambitions going forward, we've always said we are not trying to become the number one in this space overnight. We want to tread cautiously. ensure product quality. Again, customer experience is very important to us. So if that means that we are going to be at about 15% share or 20% share, which is where we are in the cities in which we are present, I believe we are at about 20% share, then I consider this to be a healthy market share, because then you are top of mind as the top 2, top 3 choices of the customer, and then we will scale up at the appropriate time.
Right. And finally, do you feel that you stand vindicated because you always have maintained over the past few years that you don't feel the need to raise capital from outside for your electric vehicle program? We have seen some companies deferring fundraising plans considering the market conditions right now. So do you feel that was the right strategy for Bajaj Auto, and are you going to stick with it?
Well, not vindicated in the sense I wasn't trying to prove a point, but I was just making an honest statement that number one, as I said, we are not in a capital intensive business, unlike say the car industry. Number two, in Bajaj Auto's case, we are sitting on a lot of cash. And number three, most importantly to me, whether the money in the business is ours or somebody else's doesn't change my attitude towards the money. In fact, if it's your money that I'm employing in my business, I must do so with a greater sense of responsibility. So we are not, conditioned by the mindset that there is some cheap, easy money floating around somewhere, so one can burn this cash because it's not yours, so to speak. This is not where one comes from, old-fashioned as it may sound. But to that extent, I think by having that discipline in mind, we made the right choices. Yes, that seems to be playing out now.
Right. Mr. Bajaj, thank you so much for talking to us here on CNBC,
Pleasure.
telling us
Always,
about the strategy
Thank
with
you.
these 2 new motorcycles as well.
Thank you so much, Parikshit.